This edition of MacVoices could have been sponsored by you. MacVoices is always looking for sponsors who appreciate our high-signal, low-noise approach to tech topics with an Apple focus. Our sponsorship packages feature inclusion in all of the audio and video versions of MacVoices at all of their distribution points, a web presence, inclusion in the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and more. Get the details by contacting me at chuck@macvoices.com or contact Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Welcome back to MacVoices. This is the Talk of the Mac Community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we have an old friend with us, Maria Langer. Maria, it's great to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's great to be here.
It's been way too long. I know you've been working on a lot of different projects and a lot of different things, and we're going to start with one. We'll probably gravitate to some others. This first one, though, is something that was a little surprising to me. You just created a new video course for lynda.com called Up and Running with Meetup.com.
That's correct.
I got it right. Good. I got
Meetup,
it right.
Yes.
Meetup. Did we need a video course on Meetup.com?
I don't know. Maybe. I think it's there's a lot more to it than you might think when you go there. And first of all, let me explain what Meetup is for the folks that don't know.
Please.
Meetup.com, it sounds like a dating site, but it's not. Meetup.com is a site where you go to meet people with similar interests. So, for example, maybe you're very interested in bowling, just as an example, or maybe that's not a good example. Maybe you're interested in hiking. Hiking is a better example. And you want to go out and do some hiking, and you want to hike with other people who like to go hiking. You could go to Meetup.com. You could set up an account. And then tell it where you live, the area that you're in, and that's kind of important because if you live in Washington State, you don't want to meet people who hike in New Jersey. So you tell them where you are, and then it shows you all the meetup groups in your area, and then you choose the meetup groups that match your interests, and you join them. And then when you join them, you get access to information about their different meetups. A meetup is an actual they're meeting up to do something, to go on a hike if it's a hiking group, to go bowling if it's a bowling group. There's singles groups in there. There's groups that go to concerts and groups that there's all kinds of groups. Stay-at-home moms. There's survivalists. There's pretty much anything you can imagine. There's on Meetup, and of course, the larger your area is, if you're in a metro area, for example, there would be a lot more Meetup groups than in a smaller area. I'm in the Wenatchee area of Washington, which is central Washington, and we only have maybe 8 Meetup groups in the immediate area. But there's groups that I could belong to in Seattle and whatnot as well. And then once you join and you read about the meetups, then you can sign up for a meetup, and you can exchange comments about the meetup in advance. You know, where we're going to meet. Do you want to carpool? Things like that. Attend it. Get to meet all the people in the group, and a lot of people you might have already known from previous meetups. And afterwards, and share, take pictures, share pictures online, comment about it, and get ready for the next one. And the videos Up and Running with Meetup has information about doing all those different things. It's from the point of view of a user, not of an organizer. An organizer is someone who gets those meetups together, who comes up with the ideas. So it's really the user level, just the member level. And it's a free service, free for you to belong to. And it's very cool. I used to belong to a meetup group down in Arizona when I lived there, and I went hiking with them every Sunday. It was a great group of people. I actually really miss them a lot. But so it's a good way, especially if you're new in an area, or you're going through some life changes. Things are different. Maybe your kids just left the roost, or maybe your relationship is changing. You just want to get out and meet new people. It's good for all that.
I was joking, of course. Do we really need a video? Because these services, there's so many of them out there. I think of a training video by someone like you, and having it on Lynda certainly legitimizes it in a lot of people's eyes. Not that it needs any legitimacy, because it's been pretty well established. And I know several user groups Mac user groups that either kind of slid over to the Meetup concept and used Meetup.com, or they formed in an area that there really was no formal group, and they don't have the finances or the inclination to organize a formal group, this gives them a chance to
Oh, sure.
get together and figure out a way that they can meet and do some
Mm-hmm.
things together. So I think it's a fabulous service.
Oh, it's a great service. And when we approached them about doing this, one of the tricks about working with Linda is that we try not to have real people information in the videos. We have so we have a lot of sample accounts, we have a lot of sample data, and we approached the folks at Meetup and told them we were interested in doing the course, and they allowed us to create some fake Meetup groups so that all of the examples online that you see me going to has not real groups. It's basically based in in order to do this by area, we had to base it in Nome, Alaska. So the examples are all groups in Nome, Alaska, which, by the way, don't exist anymore. They took all the groups down afterwards. But it gives you plenty of information to understand how Meetup works.
So if you're in Nome and you were hoping to meet Maria, you're out of luck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, Maria, what as you went through and researched this course and put it together, what kind of surprising things were there with Meetup? Was it as straightforward as you thought it would be, or were there some extra capabilities or extra hoops to jump through that people will find this course especially valuable for?
It's, there's a lot more to it than the average user sees. I actually was extremely well versed in Meetup before I did the course because I'm a Meetup organizer. I run one of the Meetup groups here in the Wenatchee area. So I really had a very thorough understanding of the system. What people might not realize is that the organizer of a Meetup group has the ability to turn certain features on and off. So, for example, some groups might have a discussion board, a moderated or unmoderated discussion board. Some groups and others won't, and others might have files, for example, where you might want to share different documents that the group members might want to access, maybe maps for hiking or things like that. And other groups might have polls, for example, where you do an opinion poll. So I think what will surprise people is the fact that some of these things are accessible and some of these things aren't, depending upon the group and how organized, how the organizers set it up. Also, a lot of the groups can have multiple organizers, and a regular member who shows a lot of interest in a group can take on some of the role of being an organizer, being like a co-organizer or somebody who comes up with different ideas. That's how I got involved in my group, being the organizer, was I became a co-organizer. And then when the original organizer moved out of the area, she reached out to see who might want to take over for her, and that's how I got it. So there's a lot of things like that are in there that I think people would learn a lot from the course. It's not a very long course. I can't remember. I think it's only about 20 videos, so it's not very long. But I think it's got a lot of. It basically covers all the basics and then some. So.
I'm really glad that you pointed out that there are different things that an organizer can turn on, because that's something I think that would confuse me as a potential new user of Meetup. I go to one group and it looks like, wow, it's really thriving and it's got all this cool stuff, and then another one that may be just getting off the ground,
right,
maybe has just one or two of the features turned on, and you think, well, what's going on here and why, and am I doing something wrong? So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Really intriguing to me that we're seeing more and more of these social things. We all talk about Facebook and we talk about Twitter, of course, and LinkedIn and Google Plus and all. This is just one more tool, but it seems like it's a little more targeted tool or you can use it as a little more targeted tool to get to the people that you want to get to.
It's extremely targeted by topic. So you can zero in on and meet people who have the same interest as you, whatever that interest might be. But what I like best about it compared to the other examples, Twitter and Google Plus and Facebook, is that when you go to Meetup, you're actually physically going to a meetup. So you're actually going to physically meet these people in person. And you can get some really good friendships going. Some of the people that I met through my Meetup group, even though my Meetup group is kind of struggling, every time I put out an event, it's the same small handful of people that are going. So it's kind of disappointing to me. Whereas other groups, I don't want people to get the idea that they're all like that. It's mostly because it's such a small, limited population area. But a lot of those people I've become very good friends with. In fact, I was out for Halloween yesterday with one of them. We hang out together quite often, not at a meetup. So you're starting off these friendships as virtual friendships, people that you're meeting online, and you don't really get to see them except, their profile picture and their comments or whatever. But eventually you go and you go out to eat, or you go on a hike, or you go to a concert, whatever it is you're going to with them, and you're hanging out with them. And it's, I think it's a lot more rewarding. And, obviously I've preached about this over and over in the past, is like, we spend way too much time in front of a computer screen. We need to get out and have real relationships with people. And to me, Meetup is, especially if you're a shy person, you don't know how to meet people. Holy cow, it's really, really good for that. It's really good to help you get out and meet people this way. And it's not scary at all. It's good. And if you meet people and you don't like them, well, you don't go to another meetup with them, whatever. It's not like you're locked into meeting these people and hanging out with them. So, yeah.
Maria, talk a little bit, if you will, about the privacy and the security features here. I have not used Meetup, so I will get that right out off the bat. So, do I give myself a screen name or an ID, and therefore nobody knows really who I am, and I can just show up at the Meetup? Or am I putting my real identity in? Or am I required to put my real identity in to join up a meetup group?
They encourage you to put your at least your first name in, your real first name in. I've noticed that not all people do that. I have my whole name in there. I've got nothing to hide. So I have my whole name in there. You also, of course, have to put in an email address that is real. So that they can, just behind the scenes, to be able to track you down if, that's pretty common these days. However, your email address is not released to the group. Your location, normally you put in your zip code, but again, it's because this is a location-based thing, so you want to put in something about your location, but you don't have to put in your street address or anything like that, or your phone number or anything like that. If you have the ability, there's tools in there, and I do go into this in the course, where you can basically say how you want to be contacted by other members. So you can say, don't release my email address, don't let people who don't belong to the group contact me. Don't let anybody except the organizer of the group contact me. And then you can go a step further, and then the contact can be through Meetup itself, where the only way you can read your incoming messages are through Meetup, or you can have it forward those messages to your email so that it's more convenient. I usually have it forwarded to my email. And then if you want to respond, it depends on how the other person set their preferences. If they set their preferences only contact directly through Meetup, then even if you get a message forwarded to you from Meetup, but that person's email is not in it, you still have to go to Meetup to respond. So you can remain arm's length from it. Profile pictures, again, you're encouraged to put your real profile picture in. Since you're going to meet in person, it's kind of helpful to have your real face, so that when you get to that restaurant or concert or whatever it is, or trailhead, you can recognize people in the group. But the privacy, I think the privacy's set just right, and the options are set just right for the type of thing this is. I think it's good. And again, I do go over that in the course, because a lot of people are really concerned with privacy, so it's important.
It's too bad, but in today's world, I think you have to be, and especially for something like this where you are going to be going out and meeting people in person.
Right.
I personally think that I would feel a lot more comfortable maybe lurking on a group and seeing, what their meetup is, and especially if there are pictures posted of the last one, you get an idea of what's going on there. And so that if I decide to join it, so that I get the notifications, but I maybe don't show up for the first one. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm paranoid, maybe I'm not, but it's probably just good way that they do it.
Yeah, no, and I haven't had any bad experiences with meetup groups other than maybe groups that I went to one, for example, for a hike, and I didn't like the people. There was nothing wrong with the people, but they were very cliquish, and they were not welcoming to me they treated me kind of like an outsider, and I was really turned off by that. Whereas other groups, all the other groups that I've ever done anything with, they're very, very welcoming. New person in the crowd. Go on a hike and there's always somebody hiking right along with you, chatting with you. It's usually really, really good. I was going to go somewhere else with this and I forgot where it was. Oh, well.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a great way to do it. And as you said, for so many reasons, especially if you're just moving into an area or you're just looking for someone who, shares similar interests. And I get the impression you just got it back.
I did. What I wanted to say is that if you do find somebody online, and either in your group or somebody who's contacting you when they're undesirable, you can block them. There's a blocking feature, and you can also report people. So that's really important to point out there too, because unfortunately in this world, and I don't see this very often because again, I live in a rural area and things are very different here than in a big city. And you don't have troublesome people really that often, but in the real world, the big world, there's people out there that are kind of creepy. And if you happen to be approached by any of the people like that, you can, report them, and Meetup will take action if they find. Obviously, they can look at all this person's communications and see if they're really being creepy and get rid of them. And the other thing is the organizer has the ability to keep events private so that only group members can see where something's going on, so that in order for you to join in on an event, you need to be a member of the event. And then there's another step further where they will only allow people who RSVP to see an address. So you have to say, yes, not only am I a member of this group, but I said I'm coming, and therefore, and again, that's all organizer stuff behind the scenes that people don't usually see. And it's just a way to keep it more secure.
Yeah, and I hate the fact that we're focusing so much on the potential negatives here, because it's a great service, and we should talk more about the positives. But I can already see people asking those questions right off the bat as some of their first concerns. In the world for better or worse, the world we live in today, that's the way it is. So, Meetup has obviously thought through a lot of this. They've put things in place, and so you can go ahead and join groups with a certain amount of security and a certain amount of anonymity, or at least a firewall between you and them. If you
firewall is a good way to put it.
Yeah, that way you aren't giving out all your personal information right off the bat. So.
And the other thing I should mention here is that it costs money for an organizer to manage a group. Oh. And the benefit of that is that whenever you charge a fee for something, it weeds people out. It weeds out the less desirables. I hate to say it, but a free service where everything is free, and I've seen this a lot. I hate to say it, but I've seen this on dating sites. The dating sites that I have participated in the past, I don't fortunately do them anymore. The ones that charged a fee, you'd had a better group of people than the ones that were free. And I think that Meetup, obviously they have bills to pay. There's no, I don't remember seeing any advertising on it. Not to speak of anyway. So they've got to get their income some way to pay for the cost of running their servers and the moderators and the employees and all that. So there is a fee. It's not a lot. I think it's like $12 a month or something like that. And that tends to weed out. So if you're worried about creepy people starting a group to lure unsuspecting people in, I don't think you're going to find too much of that either, especially since they got your credit card number if they need to, to charge you for renewals and things like that. So that's another way. That's, I think, another level of just keeping it honest. I guess that's the best way to put it, keeping it honest.
And actually, it answers one of the questions I was going to get to, is how do they make money? We know they have to make money, and so this is why. And I'm with you. I think that anytime you charge for something, people are going to value it. The organizer is going to value it. He's going to want to make it. He or she, excuse me. He's going to want to make it the best experience possible, because they have a vested interest in. So, but it is not there is no charge for me to just log on and look for a group or join a group?
Most groups do have the ability to charge a fee. The ones that do sometimes charge a nominal fee, sometimes they charge a higher fee. For example, I joined a hiking group based in the Seattle area, and they were charging each member $5 a year, which is, to me, is a nominal fee, considering what they're paying. They pulled it all together. However, there was a group over here in the Wenatchee area, and they were charging $20 a year. And frankly, based on what they were doing, I didn't think that it was worth, to me, $20 a year, so I didn't join. So it's really up to the organizer, because obviously the organizer's paying money. They need to get the money somehow. Another group I belong to in the Wenatchee area, every time they get together, they pass around an envelope. And you can put $1 in or $5 in or whatever you want to do. And the way I look at it is, if you put every time you go to a meetup, if you put $1 in, what's $1? $1 is nothing. So you go to 10 meetups a year, maybe with the group. Well, that's $10 from you. And if there's 20 other people doing that, well, that pays their fees for the whole year. And it's not costing you an arm and a leg, and you're paying for what you do. I don't charge my members a fee. However, I probably will if I continue the group beyond the next renewal period, because it's another way. Again, it's weeding people out. I've got 70 members of the group, but yet it's the same 5 people who show up for meetups. So maybe this is a way to get rid of the dead wood, so to speak.
Sounds like every other social group I've ever heard of, Maria.
It's funny because I belong to a group in Phoenix. Dare I say what it was, because some people don't like the whole idea, but I belong to I'm trying to remember the whole name of it, the Phoenix Atheists Meetup Group is what it was. The group had, like, I don't know, 2,000 members. I mean, Phoenix, big city. They had different subgroups. So they'd have a group that met for coffee every Tuesday, and they had another group that would go to all these free thinker and atheist related speaking events. But the part of the group that I belonged to were hikers. It was the same group of about, maybe 30 or 40 people that would meet on Sunday mornings and go for these hikes. So it's interesting to me to see how, and you know why they weren't on Sunday mornings.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I got that.
It worked. And they were great, really great people, and really friendly people. Like I said, I really miss these people a lot. But the point is that my group is small, 80 people is nothing. Again, I'm a small rural area, but there's some groups that are really big, and within those groups are these little subgroups, and you find some overlap. There'll be people that belong to different portions of each group. And that's, I tell you, if you live in a big metro area and you want to meet new people, Meetup, I think, is the way to go.
Great. Take us through, if you will, the pricing on this and the whole lynda.com model. I know a lot of our listeners are probably familiar with it, but just in case.
You could go to lynda.com without a membership, and every course has a number of free videos on it. It depends on how many total videos in the course, but I know a lot of mine have up to maybe 10 free videos in it. And then the way Lynda works, which is, I think, way cool, is that you pay a monthly or annual or whatever fee. And I'm sorry to say that I can't remember the exact numbers for it. But you pay a fee. It's not that much, though. It might be, I don't know, $20 or $30 a month. And then if you go for a year, it's cheaper per month, the usual thing. And then once you become a member, you have access to the entire lynda.com library. So if you go on, for example, you're interested in Meetup and you decide you want to learn about Meetup, please do. And you finish with that, and then you decide, well, I'm interested in LinkedIn. I can't quite figure it out. There are courses there about LinkedIn and Twitter. I did the Twitter course, of course, so I want you to go for that too. But then maybe you need to brush up on your Excel skills, or maybe there's a new version of Microsoft Office coming out and you want to learn about the new features so that you can zero in on learning those new things. Or there's a new version of iOS just came out, and they've got courses about that and about Yosemite. Mac OS. So you can go on to Linda and you can consume videos. I mean, if you wanted to, you can sit there with a bowl of popcorn and you can watch it 24/7. They don't. There's no limit to how much video you can watch. As long as it's within the period of your subscription. And there's also, it's not just computer stuff. There's a lot of photography stuff. There's a lot of graphics related stuff. And what I was really surprised to find recently was that they have courses to do with, for example, time management and writing a business plan and things that are not necessarily specific to your computer or sitting in front of a screen. There's a lot of material on there, and especially if you're between jobs, maybe you've got a job now and you want to get a better job, you can get online and improve some of your skills to help you get that better job. I just think it's a really great service, and the quality. I've done video before. Everyone's seen video on YouTube, and this is way better than anything you're going to find on YouTube. It's really professionally done. I sit in a soundproof booth. In front of me is just a computer screen, a keyboard, a mouse, like a screen, a microphone, of course, and a headset. The computer is not even in the same room with me because computers have fans and fans hum, and they don't want any weird background noise in there. The first day of recording, we do a big sound check. They've got an audio guy that comes down and he does all these tests. He sets everything up just for me. Microphone a certain distance from my mouth and all that. And then we go through. On the other side of the glass from me is my editor. She's also in a soundproof booth. If I say something and kind of stumble over my words and keep going, she'll keep me honest and she'll say, "Hey, can you say that again?" And real clear. And then when I'm done and I leave, it goes to editing, and they go through it and they take out all my mistakes and make it nice and smooth. And then from there it goes into quality control, and they've got somebody who watches the entire video and uses my exercise files and repeats every single thing that I did. They repeat it to make sure that the person, eventually who'll see it can do it. And then it finally gets released. And when you go online to YouTube, you're not getting that. You're getting some. I've watched a bunch, especially lately, looking up topics that I needed to learn a little bit about that weren't on Linda yet. And I really am kind of appalled at the quality of stuff on YouTube. I'm spoiled. As a Linda author, of course, I get access to the whole library, and it's just such a great thing to go online and be able to learn stuff. So that's what it's worth it. I just think it's worth it. If you're serious about learning, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with an all-you-can-eat kind of model. And I believe you can buy on a monthly basis, as you said. So just for the next month, I buy this.
Yeah.
And if I just buy it for one course, it's probably worth it. But I can look at anything that I want to. And of course, some of the authors I know, they're friends of ours. Mm-hmm. Chris Breen, Derek Story, Dee McClellan, and Marie Concepcion. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of names you already know, folks, that are there, and they're showing their expertise in this terrific format. So
yeah.
There are links in the show notes, of course, to go lynda.com and check it out. And, of course, check out Maria's Meetup course and check out Maria's Twitter course. And I don't know, do you have anything else on there right now?
For the Mac users, I still have my Office. No, I guess it's Word. My Word 2011 Essential Training, which is the big course. The Essential Training titles are really, they're long courses. I think this one's 3 or 4 hours of video covering a lot of the features of Word. And some of you folks might be aware that some Office 2015 stuff for Mac is starting to leak. And I'm really looking forward to updating it for Word 2015. So I'm looking forward to that.
Let's not hope we're having to wait till 18.
No, I know. I was just thinking that after I said 18. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something you've been busy doing. How about anything else? I know you're still working on building your house, which is something that anybody that follows you on Twitter knows about. How about any of the other tech-related projects?
I'm starting to think about working on other video related stuff, and I'm starting to think on working on some books again, some short books, self-published stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but back in the early 2012, I did a book about iBooks Author. It was the first iBooks Author book out there. I did it, I self-published it in four formats. There was a print format that was created using print on demand. I've got a really good print on demand publisher that's hooked up with Ingram, so it gets into Amazon.com and all that. It was also put out on as an EPUB, which is a standard electronic publishing format. That it was also put out on the Mobi format, which is what Kindle uses. Okay, and then finally, I brought the text into iBooks Author itself and created some accompanying video for it and incorporated the video into it. So it became a video, basically a video book where you've got the text. And then when it came into actual how-to stuff, I had videos that you could watch. That book did extraordinarily well for a self-published project. And I really wanted to update it for subsequent versions of iBooks Author. And because of some personal stuff going on in my life and in my head, I have had some trouble focusing on projects like that, projects for myself. I'm the kind of person where if I'm focused, I can knock it off really quickly and I'm really driven. But I also need that editor to say, you said you'd have this by next Friday. Are you going to make it? And, or somebody, when I used to do a lot of work for Peach Pit Press, especially my Mac OS books that we used to do, they used to make deals with the Apple Store back when the Apple Store carried books, to get my book in the store if I can get it done by a certain date. And that was a real driving force to get me done. So without somebody waiting for it and saying, where is it? I have trouble delivering. I'm just so bad that way. But I'm working on doing some other smaller bite-sized projects that I can get out there quick, low cost to make them affordable for everybody, bring a little bit of a revenue stream in for me, so I can keep working on my building. That's become kind of a project, like a hobby almost for me, it seems like. Maybe I'll finish someday.
Yeah, building a house is not a distraction at all.
No, it's just,
it's always just such a smooth process.
You've obviously never built a house.
I have. I've been involved with building houses, and no, of course, I'm being very facetious when I say that.
It's amazing experience. I don't know how long ago it's been since we spoke, but I basically came up with the design myself. It's very simple. And seeing something that you've been thinking about for a year, jotting down on paper, sketching it out, bringing it to the builder who does their version of the sketch, whatever, and then seeing them like literally out my window. I'm living in my RV right now, and my building is right out my office window, and seeing them actually build it. I've done a whole bunch of time-lapse movies of it, but seeing something that you thought of, you designed, it's like it's out of your head, and all of a sudden it's sitting out there, and it's this big old building. It is the most amazingly rewarding thing possible. But with that comes all kinds of responsibility and stress and obviously expense. And I've got a lot of work ahead of me. I'm doing all the electrical work and all the plumbing work myself. I'm kind of at a stall with that right now, but I'm going to be, now that was at Linda doing another course. So now that I'm back from that, I'm gearing up for that, winterizing around. And it's just really rewarding. And I hope that if we talk again this time next year, I hope to be living in it. Even before that, hopefully. So,
well, I hope we get to talk before then, because that means you'll have another project or two under your belt. And we always enjoy having you here to tell the folks about it. Yeah. So get to work.
Yeah, no, I know. Get to work. I'm now motivated. Chuck's waiting for something, so I gotta.
Yeah, there you go.
Do it.
Yeah. I can be your surrogate editor here.
Yeah.
Until somebody is pushing you something. Yeah. Hey, Maria, it's great to see you. For the folks who don't know, where can they find you online? I believe you are still blogging.
Yes, I'm still blogging. I've been blogging. This month was 11 years.
Wow.
that I've been blogging. The easiest way to find it, the blog is called An Eclectic Mind, but since a lot of people can't spell eclectic, you can also get there by marialanger.com. Gets you the same place. And I blog about mostly things going on in my life. I blog a little bit about flying. I've been blogging a lot lately about scams, email scams, where you get something in the email and they're trying to get you to click something. And I'm just trying to put it out there so people don't click stupid things that come in email that might install viruses or get them to enter their secret passwords on fake sites, things like that. So I've been blogging a little bit about those things lately as well. I'm also, of course, on Twitter, M. Langer on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook as well, Maria Langer. Actually, it's Eclectic Mind, An Eclectic Mind, which is the blog name, is my name on Twitter, on Facebook. I have a LinkedIn account, but I don't really use it, so don't even look for me there. I tried Rooms, by the way, with that's brand new from Facebook. I think it's going to be pretty dopey, so I'm not going to. We'll see. I don't know. Somebody will quote me on that, like in a year. You said it would be pretty dopey, and it's really hot. But so far, I'm under impressed.
It's going to be like, I think, everything else. It's going to appeal to a certain number of people, and the others are just going to. I'm not sure I've heard anything described as dopey, but I like it.
Dopey, yeah. It's just, it seems to be chat room stuff. Anytime you have anonymity, let me see. No, I don't want to even try to say that again. But you know, when you're anonymous, anytime you allow people to be anonymous, and they get abusive. Now, I'm not saying everybody, obviously, but we all know about trolls. We all know about how comments on blogs get, beaten down by trolls. How news sites don't moderate properly, and anytime you allow that to happen, people are not responsible for what they say, so they say whatever they want. They get cruel, they get mean, they get abusive. It's just, I could see Rooms becoming a place like that. I could see it just being a place that people just take advantage of it, and it's just turning into a free for all. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope not.
I hope not too.
Well, please keep us informed about everything you're doing, and as it comes up, we'll get back here and talk about it.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, good, and good luck with the house as always.
Thanks very much. Take care.
Folks, I'll have links to lynda.com, Maria's courses, and of course everything that Maria just mentioned, her social network connections, her blog, anything else I can think to throw in there. Please check it out. As always, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices, the talk of the Mac community. We will be back. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Mac Voices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the Mac Voices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest Mac Voices news from our front page or at macvoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free Mac Voices magazine on Flipboard by visiting macvoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.